T-shirts.
I say,
Yeah.
Danny,
I'll just-
he claimed that he got the shirt in 1960.
Yeah,
1960? Who are you talking about? All right, we can get right into it. We had a good day of practice. We did some red zone today, so I'll go ahead and let y'all go.
We didn't see Eddie out there. What can you tell us about his
Yeah,
stay?
he's going to be doubtful, and so we'll see how it goes tomorrow, see where he's at. But it'll if he gets better tomorrow or on Sunday and all that whole deal, then that'll be good for him, and we'll get him out there. And if he's not, then it'll give an opportunity for other guys below him to to play a little bit. So that's where we're at with him.
He wasn't able to do anything today.
He wasn't what?
He was able to do
No,
anything.
no.
Are you going to put him on a plane away, or?
I don't know. We're gonna work through that. Yep.
as much as you've missed Goldman last year, you've always had good depth in the defensive line to fill in and get to a certain point. Does Tonga, is it fair to say he fits into this plan if Eddie can't go? And if so, what do you think of him as a rookie coming in and in a big spot?
Yeah, he's been pretty impressive, Mark. If that is the case, after we get through the next 2 days with Eddie, Tonga would have a bigger role. So that'll be a good opportunity for him. But I do believe, too, like that's probably of all the positions on our team, that's something that we got a lot of depth at right now, which is good. So when this stuff happens, so we'll see the next 2 days. But I feel good with what Coach Rump has done with those guys. And then the other guys are going to have to step up if that's the case.
Are there any other doubtful players that you?
No, nope.
Matt, this is obviously the first time you've gone through game week preparation with Andy. I'm curious how that process has gone and how you guys have felt about the, I guess, collective input back and forth. of it.
Yeah, Dan, that's been really good. Probably the biggest thing is just the details of how the practice goes. It changes from training camp a little bit, the periods that we have, the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday practices, and just kind of how we do things. Other than that, the football part's easy for those guys and the way he runs it, but more so than anything, it's just some of the little things of the way we do a period versus how we might have done it in training camp. It's been smooth.
What about the back and forth in terms of figuring out what you guys have up and what's going on? The
Gotcha.
All those
Gotcha.
things.
Yeah, that's been really good, that process. Again, it's the first time that we're truly going through that part of it too with game planning and scheming. So the one thing with Andy that I really appreciate is, he's very open and honest. So if he has an idea or suggestion, he's going to say that. He does it in a way that, he has conviction with it because he has done it, but he's also willing to explore if there's a unique play or something that he has or hasn't done. So we knew that going into it. He's got that relationship with Bill, so it's been very seamless.
Matt, with Tashawn Gibson, did something happen in practice yesterday, or is it just cumulative?
No, I don't think so. I think I think everything's fine. Yeah.
Talk about suggestions. How much input does Andy Dalton have in the offensive scheme? A few of the defensive players were talking about Sean Desai having a suggestion box for them. Similar on offense.
Always. Yeah, it's all of those guys. There's always a little bit of a fine balance, but Andy's got a great demeanor to him with that. The nice thing with Andy is that you can actually say, hey, go to 2018, play 6. And he can, or play 10, play 12, and you can see it versus different coverages. That's what's nice about him, that he'll have those experiences. He'll have the whys behind he wants to. Some guys come to you and they just draw stuff up, like on a napkin, and you never know if that's going to work or not.
Coach, when you talk about game planning, you're obviously a quarterback, a hard offensive guy. You want to light the scoreboard up. But we've seen other offensive coaches, John Gruden, Brian Billick, have a lot of success kind of tailoring their overall game plan to the strength of their team. When you look at your roster, do you feel a need to kind of play complementary football to your defense, not put the ball in harm's way, punt when you need to punt, or do you still just try to run up on offense as best you can?
Yeah, no, we want to score as many points as we can, and I think that'll be complementary to our defense if we do that. But at the same point in time, I think it's probably the big picture of defensively, forcing 3 and outs, getting field position, turnovers, takeaways, everyone always talks about, but, making them kick field goals in the red zone and not touchdowns. But then offensively, too, if you're going to have a long drive, finish with a touchdown. If you're going to have some explosive plays, make it before a touchdown. So just scoring in general is probably what helps, and that time of possession deal is big, and it can tire you out one way or the other sometimes. So I'm not necessarily looking for a specific recipe with how our defense or offense is. I'm looking more so of game to game. Are we playing smart football? Are we efficient? Every game's going to be a little bit different, but are we situationally smart?
Factor that into like 4th and short decisions here or there, or when to punt, or
Yeah, We go through all of that, you know, we do, we work a lot of that in training camp, big picture, generically, and then we get to the season, and now you go schematically versus that defense or that offense, special teams. So, yeah, we work on that.
Matt, what struck you about Sean Desai since he got into this job and going through those preseason games with him? What's he like on the headset during a game and managing his side of the ball?
So on the headset during the game, extremely calm, which I love. You know, just the players feel that when he's calling a play into to whoever that is at the time during the game, regular season, preseason, they feel that. They understand that. I like that about him because he believes in what he's saying. And sometimes, you know, there's times where there's a couple plays where in a row where you're getting gashed and there's no panic. You know, I think that's where you feel it the most is there's no panic. It's just nice and calm. But then if he needs to get on him a little bit, I've seen that dark side too. You got to have that dark side. And he has that. So I appreciate that about him. During the season, during the week, what I see is somebody, he'll come into my office and he'll give me a sheet of paper that is extremely detailed with how the day's going to go, right? Or what his coaches are doing. He's coaching his coaches too. You know, we all coach our players, but he's coaching his coaches. So for a first-year guy doing it, this isn't something that he's been thrown into the fire. He's been prepping for this, and that's why he did such a great job in his interview, and that's why we believe in him.
When you got here in 2018 and you were looking to how you were going to manage that staff, what were you told about Sean? Kind of what struck you when those first impressions?
Well, right away, you know, he was a quality control coach at that time under Vic, but what struck me wasn't what I was told, but what I saw. You know, what I was able to see with him being with Vic all the time. I could see what Vic saw in him. I could see and sense that Vic trusted him a lot. That's why when Vic tried to get him, Vic wasn't getting him. So I saw that. And in all honesty, I appreciated that, and I saw him grow. And I've had conversations with him. And then you see him how he interacts with the players as a position coach as he moved up. And so when he had the opportunity this offseason, he did an unbelievable job, and now we get to the true test, you know. And is it going to be perfect for him? No, it's not. But I 100% believe in him. I'm excited to see what he's going to do.
Matt, what are you doing for captains?
Say that?
What are you doing for captains?
We're going to go weekly, like we always do. This week it's going to be DHC on special teams. It'll be David Montgomery on offense, and it'll be Roquan Smith on defense.
Matt, this is the third time you've opened up with a big primetime game.
Yeah.
Is there anything you learned from the last couple that you're applying to this one?
Yeah, there's a few things. Some of it is more so of the day of schedule a little bit with the nighttime games and how we go with that and what we do. Very minor, nothing that's going to truly affect how a game is played. But I think you also learn too what can happen big picture is sometimes you go into training camp, you go into week one, you know your opponent for months and months and months, and before you know it, you have this menu that is really big with what you want to do. So there's always a balance of that because you are able to practice a lot in training camp, but yet you want to make sure that these guys play fast.
Why did you pick David Montgomery?
I just think he's somebody that exemplifies. There's a lot of guys I could have picked, but he's somebody that exemplifies from start to finish just everything about how the day goes. I think he's worked extremely hard to get to this point. He's being a leader out there on the field. I see it. I feel it. The guys see it and they feel it. But, you know, the way we do this, picking one guy, it's hard. You wish you could pick more, but I know the guys appreciate that.
Circling back to Adam's question in terms of the primetime games, the result of week one primetime games can sometimes feel more significant.
Yeah.
Have you learned anything in that regard of processing it properly?
Yeah, so I go back to Green Bay for 18 and 19, and so I'm thrown into it there in 18 with Lambeau Field, and the first game we go out and Khalil has like 7 sacks and 3 touchdowns, and he didn't practice one training camp practice, and then we lost, you know, and so that was hard how to react to that. Probably didn't know what I didn't know at that point in time. So then you get to the second year in 19 and you're playing them again, and it's the 100-year anniversary, and there's a lot of stuff going on, and you know, we got to a point where I just feel like that might have been a time where maybe we had a little bit too much in going into that game. So we learned as coaches for that. So all in all, you learn a little bit in different ways. We feel like, I think we've been about, you guys can check it, but I think we're about 50-50 on primetime night games. There's been some good ones, but there's been some bad ones. So we're trying not to focus too much on when it is, but more so of just about when we get out there, let's just go play football.
On both sides of the ball, matchups are obviously huge in a game like this. I've got kind of a silly question, I guess, about matchups. Who responds to who? Does someone have last change? Does some, do they respond to you putting receivers, certain set of receivers? Do you respond to them putting nickel back? I mean, how does that work?
I don't know. I guess we'll see as the game goes on.
I mean, in the course of a game in general, how does?
Yeah, no, I mean,
You know.
yeah, oh, you're saying for us? Like, how do we?
In general, like,
Yeah, it's a communicative process with the coaches and just seeing, different personnels, and you can get a feel once you're into it. It's not the first drive, it's not the second drive, but once you get, into the second quarter, you'll have an idea of what the flavor is. On both sides, they're going to know from us defensively, same with us offensively, and we're going to know theirs, and you'll get an idea and a tell. And then you got to adjust. And if you don't have an answer to a problem, then you better have an answer, because if it doesn't get fixed, these coordinators are good and they're going to keep it going until you fix it. So that's where you got to rely on your coaching staff.
does it ever work out like, let's say, like when you were in Kansas City with the offense that was really high-powered, you were calling plays, did you ever just put guys out there and say, hey, beat us? In other words, not be concerned about what.
Sure. There's times where that happens, but I think really when you build your game plan, you kind of try to do that as much as you can throughout the week with where you're putting people and why you're putting them there. So some of that is, I think that would probably be more of, sometimes if you have a matchup that you like, it might not be schematically. There might be somebody that you're trying to go after every play on defense, or you might have somebody that's whether it's a running back or a wide receiver that has a matchup, then you're going to work that. They might get a guy hurt, right? Now you got to go attack that, but you got to be on that. So it's all a little bit per game.
Coach, there are a few guys around the league that can completely wreck your game plan. You've got one in Khalil Mack. When you look at Aaron Donald, are there parts of your playbook where you're just throw that out? We can't do that this week. This dude is too good.
Yeah, I mean he's a player that can change the outcome of a game more than a lot of players. I mean he's a generational talent is what he is, right? We all know that. You see it on tape, and so you got to respect that. So you have to have a plan. Every team has a plan for Aaron Donald when they go into it. It's what that plan is. It's to see how do they react to it, and then how do you counter that, right? So really those type of players, like when you got basketball players that are scorers, they're going to score. It's just a matter of how much are they going to score, and we got to limit the scoring from Aaron Donald. It's got to be it's got to be like 8 points and 4 rebounds and 7 assists. We can't get that triple-double.
Matt, you mentioned yesterday that Khalil said, he wants to be the best defense in football. How does he communicate that to his teammates, to you?
He'll tell them when they're in, but he doesn't do it when the coaches aren't. When the coaches are around, he tells them, and then it usually gets back to me from somebody that he's voicing his opinion on where he's at. It's not always during the season too. Sometimes it's maybe it's in the off season, we're talking through watching tape or that sort of deal. But he's he's not a man of many words, but when he says something, he's one of those guys that it totally multiplies and magnifies in what he's saying.
When you hear that,
I love it. Oh, heck yeah. That's I built a great relationship with him too over the years. I mean, he's been here we've been together since we've both been Chicago Bears, so I appreciate that, and we built this relationship, and now I'm really excited to see in this 4th year what he's going to do, and I think he is too.
Thank you.
Sorry about running.
when you go into a game where there are three guys who could legitimately have aspirations of being defensive player of the year, and I'm talking about you, Aaron Donald, and Jalen Ramsey, is there a little bit of an extra juice to be like, yo, I'm the best player on this field today?
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, that's the juice every game to feel like that. You know what I mean? This game is a little different, but it's also knowing that you're dealing with those two guys on that other side of the ball as well. So it's always humbling on the games like this, understanding what's at stake. Ultimately, just trying to win the ball game, whatever you can to put your team in a position to win the ball game.
This is the third time you've started the season in prime time at night. Is that a different feeling there? And obviously, you had the memorable game 3 years ago. Do you get a little more excited? Do you have to caution against getting a little too excited for a Sunday night game like that?
Not the caution of getting too excited, just the understanding of the moment. You know what I mean?
Closer to the mics because it's not picking them up.
You say me get closer?
Yeah.
Okay.
Move over. Yeah, right about there because we losing you.
All right, my fault. I got a mask on too. But yeah, just understanding what's at stake, and that's starting the season off in a great way with the win. You know what I mean? And doing whatever it takes to be in a position to do that.
Assuming Eddie Golden's not able to play, he's listed as doubtful. How much faith? Obviously, you guys didn't play with him last year, but
Yeah.
how much faith do you have in some of the guys like Bilal and the new kid Tonga and stepping up and filling the void?
I mean, that's really what it is, you know, just understanding what's at stake and them guys stepping in there and doing the job and doing it at a high level. And it ain't no doubt in my mind it won't be a drop-off, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it'd be good to have. It'd be great to have Eddie in there.
A couple of players have mentioned that they're kind of tired of hearing about 2018.
Yeah.
It was a good year, but they kind of want to forge their own path. As one of the 5 or 6 guys who was here in 2018,
Yeah.
Are you tired of hearing about it, or are you not tired of hearing about it?
Say, am I tired of hearing about it? Absolutely, man. Gotta understand, it's a new year, new team, new possibilities and new goals, you know what I'm saying? And you continue to set goals for yourself, so you're supposed to get better, you know what I mean? And ultimately, that's what this year is all about. Looking forward to getting better with this new group that we have.
What about that year can you apply here just in terms of the feel or culture or anything like that that carries over?
I think it starts off the field, just getting more personable with guys, understanding what's going on with COVID and all these different protocols, but us getting that closeness back as a group off the field, it's gonna be beneficial to us. Yeah. Oh man, it's been a hell of a ride with Roquan, man. You talking about a guy that has all the charisma and the energy out there on the field, but ultimately getting this understanding of the game is night and day. You know what I mean? And he's flying around and calling plays out. And it's just, you just hear the vocalness and all the different intangibles that the inside linebacker is supposed to have. He's a complete player, and you could tell he's grown over the years and dealt with some injuries, but ultimately figuring that out and dialing back and getting to playing at a high level. And hopefully y'all will see that Sunday night.
In what ways do you notice his understanding of the game showing up?
I mean, practice and the games, just calling out their plays, but based on formation, based on tendencies, and he's a smart dude, man. He flies around, and you see him playing those screens and all those different things, and it's impressive.
So how quickly, I know you guys are so eager to see this defense in action, how quickly can you tell that, it is that, or it is what you guys are hoping for? Can you figure it out quickly in the game, or is it going to take a few weeks to kind of see?
It shouldn't take too long to figure it out, but that's one of those things, man. You really don't talk about it. We're an action group, you know what I'm saying, and it's a feeling. You'll feel it when you see it.
How's your relationship with Coach Desai? blossomed since the start of training camp to now? Obviously, you've known him longer than that, but how has it been with him taking over this role?
You know, it's been a hell of a ride, man. Just in that short amount of time, the amount of ball we speak, just understanding all type of things that he's understanding about where we're at as a defense, and trying to find ways to put us in positions to peak and play at a high level. He's awesome, man. Just that communication between the whole group, just trying to put things in perspective to help everybody shine when the lights on. When
I look at this roster, I see on paper that the defense is the stronger unit of the team. One question is, do you view it that way? And two, do you look for the offense to be intentional about supporting you guys and doing what you're doing, make sure you guys don't put you in bad situations with short fields, not going for it on 4th and short in tough situations? Do you view that as a responsibility of the offense to kind of help you guys out? And do you view it as you guys needing to kind of carry the load for this team defensively?
When it comes to playing a team game, you understand that it's ultimately iron sharpening iron, you know what I'm saying, and us getting better, us getting them better, and them getting us better as well. And so as far as supporting, we got to support them just as much as they got to support us. So you don't think about it as what they got to do for us type of thing. It's about what more do we have to do for them, and what more do they have to do for us, you know what I'm saying? It's not no extra pressure, because it's what we get paid to do.
Khalil, you mentioned the protocols earlier. What kind of steps are you taking as one of the, with your stature on this team, to make sure that you're available for all 17 games?
Shit, I mean, that's something I do every year, you know what I'm saying? Whether I'm not available, you feel what I'm saying? I make sure I'm available, you know what I mean? And it's an understanding of that I'm gonna be out there for my guys, and I'm make sure I'm healthy enough to be out there on Sunday.
But if you test positive, you can't play through that, right?
See, I can't play through it?
You can't play through it if you test positive, as opposed to if you hurt your ankle or something?
Yeah, true. Yeah, true. That's true. But that's also another thing where off the field you gotta protect yourself and understand, put yourself in situations where you can possibly catch something like COVID.
Khalil, I know you don't like talking about yourself, but at your best, you were the defensive player of the year. Even when you're not at that level, you're still an all-pro. When your floor is that high, when you're an all-pro, does it bother you to not be in the conversation for defensive player of the year and to be at that Aaron Donald level? Is that do you aspire to get back there? How much are you motivated to get back there? Or is just being all-pro, is that kind of sometimes, well, it's pretty good?
Yeah, that's something I won't talk about. I'll show you, but I can tell you. I mean, it's not a matter of talking about being an all-pro in the past or being a defensive player in the past. It's about showing you that I am, you know what I mean, and playing at that standard that I set for myself.
Appreciate you.
Well, earlier this offseason, we talked about, how happy you were to have Eddie Goldman back and you get to kind of play more of your natural position. Now here we are week 1 and looks like you may be going right back in there. How do you feel about the prospects of having to play more nose again and what are you looking forward to from that game?
Just whatever I gotta do to help us win. If that's going in there playing inside, then I gotta do what I gotta do. To me, it really doesn't matter as long as I'm out there and I'm giving everything I got to give us a chance to win.
Do you study a player like Aaron Donald?
Oh yeah, most definitely. Guys like him, elite talents. You watch some of the things he do. You definitely got to watch guys like that if you're a real fan of being a D lineman.
What kind of things in particular did you take away or try to take from his game and put into yours?
Just how accurate he is with his hands. A lot of times when you watch his rushes and you watch the things he does, his hands always seem like they're in a perfect spot. And as a D lineman, that's very important. So just developing that mindset of always having your hands in a perfect spot. His angles at which he attack his old linemen be pretty good most of the time. So he always got a great angle on a guy. So it's just like little things like that that you look for.
How much does that challenge you? How much does it test you, or is that more for the guys behind you?
I would say more for the guys behind, because a lot of times we locked in, we in our stands. A lot of times, I don't even be seeing, that type of stuff. So that's more for the back end. We try to pay attention to it as D linemen, but if we in our stance, we ready to just go.
How different, depending on whether it's 5 technique, nose tackle, or you're lining up in a 40 front, are your responsibilities, and how much of a mental strain does it create during a game, just thinking about what do I have to do depending on where you're lined up?
Well, the good thing is just about playing on the D line here is that all of us we train for all positions. Just in case anything ever happened, we have versatility. Just as far as playing a 5 tech versus a nose, I mean, as a 5 tech, you have a little more space out there on the outside. You have a little bit more room to work with versus when you're inside at that nose, everything happens just a little bit faster. You got guys on you a little bit faster, so you got to really be precise in, how you shoot your hands, your targeting, the way your feet move. Your feet can be slow. Sometimes that 5 technique you can make up for bad steps because you got a little bit more time. But when you're down there at nose, you got to be a lot more precise.
Have you ever had a situation where maybe you ended up in a run gap because you forgot at the start that you were on the nose instead of outside the 5 technique or something like that?
Pretty much it's a distinct difference. When you at the nose, you know what you got. When you at the 5, you know what you got. So nothing like that has ever happened.
Have you heard Mac talk about what his expectations are for the defense this season? And if so, what is he telling you guys that he wants it to be?
You say his expectations for the season? I haven't. I mean, he talked to us about it, of course, but he want to win, just like we all do. We want to win. We want to win a Super Bowl. We feel like it's time. We feel like we have the talent to do so, and we feel like it's our time to do that. It's our time to finally put it together.
You had the opportunity to play alongside Tonga throughout the offseason here throughout the summer. There's something you've noticed about him growing as 7th round draft pick to now that gives you confidence that he's ready to play on the big stage.
Oh yeah, most definitely. One thing I noticed about Tonga early is that he doesn't act like a rookie. A very mature guy. You wouldn't think that he was a rookie. You would think that he'd been in the league for a couple of years by the way he carries himself. And another thing I noticed about him is he works hard. He want to be great. He come in every day with the intent to get better and better, always asking questions, always looking for a way to get better. And, player to player, you respect that. And those are the type of guys, you love to go to war with because he going to give it everything he got. Oh yeah, most definitely. That's going to be amazing just to get the fans back in there. After last year not really having fans most of the year and stuff like that, it's going to be exciting to finally get back to full capacity and get the stadium rocking a little bit.
Though you have to be if not all 32, at least 28, 29 other teams feel the same way you guys do. They want to win a Super Bowl. There's only about 1,800 of you. You're all great football players.
So what is the difference? What separates the teams that get to the Super Bowl from the ones that don't?
Details. I always believe it was the small things that separate teams. Just how you practice, how you carry yourself when nobody's around. Are you still doing everything that you would do if you was in front of your peers? I feel like those type of things is what really make a championship team. When you go home and you're not around your teammates, are you still watching film? Are you still being accountable for your actions and things like that?
You'll be in a similar position where you may have to step up with Eddie Goldman possibly being out. Does the depth of your team this year take a little bit more pressure off as opposed to last year?
I just feel like, no matter who it is that we got out there, we got enough. I feel like we're a very talented group. We have talent all across the board, and we have different players that do different things, which makes us great as a unit. And when you have guys like that in your room, I feel like it's easy to step in and do what it is you need to do without no drop off.
What struck you about Sean Desai this week for his first regular season game?
Poised and locked in. Don't seem nervous at all. He just seemed like he'd been doing it for a long time. And that's what Doc brings to the table. He gonna bring that calm, that subtleness, but also he gonna get you to understand what it is that need to be done.
Well, the last time you played Matthew Stafford, you got your first career interception. Do you think about that going into this game?
Oh yeah, most definitely. I'd definitely love to get another one. So I'm gonna be anxious for that. I'm quite sure he probably gonna be looking at me now on screens, I hope.
Going back to Tonga real quick, you don't see too many 25-year-old rookies. Do you think that has something to do with what you're talking about just he doesn't act like a rookie?
Yeah, it may. I definitely think it does. I also just think that's just his mannerism too. He just that type of person. You could just tell. He just like what you see is who he's always been. And the fact that he is 25 probably helps out a lot. But I just feel like that's his mannerism at the same time too.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you.
Wait a minute, we got